Christian Horner comments on Red Bull's difficulties in its old wind tunnel, which he describes as a relic of the Cold War. Fernando Alonso speaks openly about retirement and says, 2025 was certain, 2026 as well. Because I want to see the new cars, but beyond that, and left it open-ended. Is Lewis Hamilton suffering $1 million loss with a vegan burger chain? Engine regulations remain on the agenda, and the FIA says adjustments will still happen. And Mercedes complains. McLaren confirms its exit from Formula E. Friday, April 25th, 2025, there's no Formula One, but there is news. Sit down to find out everything. Christian Horner spoke to the press about the concerning impact that a Cold War relic, the old wind tunnel they use in England, has on the performance of the cars. The facility was inherited when Red Bull acquired the Jaguar team and hasn't undergone major modifications, modernizations, or updates since then. And there go 20 years. Recently, teams like McLaren and Aston Martin have launched their state-of-the-art wind tunnels, and Red Bull claims it intends to open a brand new one, but that won't happen before 2027. And for now, they will continue testing their new cars and components in the old facilities, which, according to Horner, is a problem. According to him, the thermal insulation of the wind tunnel is poor, as it is a relic from the Cold War and was used to test aircraft from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And in a country with a wide temperature range like England, where the summer heat is similar to here, but the winter is freezing cold, the external weather conditions affect the performance of the wind tunnel. And then, below a certain temperature, it doesn't work. I mean, it works but gives incorrect readings, and the same happens above that temperature. And this is a problem because every wind tunnel, every CFD has discrepancies. The so-called correlation is never perfect. And then something that you test in the factory, in the wind tunnel, and on the computer, when it arrives on the track, does not give the expected result. It doesn't deliver the readings you anticipated. That's why they decided to build a new wind tunnel, but it costs a lot of money and takes a long time to be ready. We have ours here. It's about this size, a scale of 1 to 64. You might have seen me posting about it on social media. It's addictive. Fernando Alonso talked about retirement and said he doesn't plan to race until he's 50 years old. But he also admitted that he's not sure when he'll hang up his boots, or in this case, his helmet. At 43 years old, the Spaniard is the oldest driver on the grid. Debuted in Formula One in 2001 with Minardi and has a contract with Aston Martin until the end of 2026, when he will be 45. The future of Alonso, a two-time champion with Aston Martin, is, although no one admits it, closely connected with that of a four-time champion. Max Verstappen, whose name is linked day in and day out to Lawrence's team, which is said to have already made him an offer of €260 million. As far as we know, Verstappen's contract, which we've discussed here several times, has a performance clause. And if by mid-year he is not second in the Drivers' Championship and Red Bull is not third in the Constructors, these are conditions that could be concurrent or could be one or the other. We haven't read the contract. He could leave Red Bull without paying a single cent in termination fees. Despite this, Alonso said he is more focused on his current contract with Aston Martin. And he said, not at 50 years old. I mean, I won't be racing at 50, but I don't know. That's why we kept the possibility open. Of what? Of staying or leaving. Everything is open. And he said, I wanted to race this year for sure, and next year too, because of the regulation change. And I wanted to experience the 2026 rules and Honda's arrival to the team. Who would have thought Alonso waiting for Honda's arrival? After that, Adrian's arrival to the team a few months after I renewed was a welcome surprise. But after 2026, I don't know. I will analyze season by season. I will see how I feel, how motivated I am. Right now, I am very motivated, but I can't guarantee that for 3 or 4 years and commit the team. So we said, let's do this until the end of 2026. And from there, I think I have a good relationship with Lawrence and Lance, and we will talk. Last week, when the buzz involving Verstappen led to a question, Directly asked to Alonso, he enigmatically said, "I have a contract." What could "I have a contract" mean? I have a clause that says, I will eternally be the first driver, and if I'm not anymore, I will have to receive a check for that. I didn't say that he said that. I am interpreting based on a rather enigmatic response that he left open. Let me tell you something. You know we have a subscription program here, right? Well, in 2024, 30 miniatures were sent to our subscribers. 3 per month in every month of the season, and 30 books. Also 3 per month in every month. They are always raffled off in the last post-race live stream of the month for all the months of the season to our paying subscribers. There are 4 categories. All of them have guaranteed gifts, the books, the miniatures, and there are new things coming. I can't talk about it yet, but maybe next week I can. And whenever something extra comes up here, like tickets for the Porsche Cup, Formula E, Mil Millas, WEC, I don't keep them for myself. I raffle them off to the crowd. So if you want to compete for these gifts, watch the videos first, have priority in live responses, and on top of that, contribute to this project, which is my full-time job and exclusive dedication. Click the join or become a member button. There's also a link down in the description. This week, we surpassed 700 contributors to the project. All right, next news. Lewis Hamilton and his partners closed the last units of a vegan burger chain in the UK this week, Otto, in which he was a partner, along with others, including Leonardo DiCaprio. All of this after millions of pounds in losses. The Neat Burgers chain, which would translate to clean burgers, was launched in 2019 and had Leonardo DiCaprio as a partner alongside Hamilton, offering meals that were 100% plant-based. 6 years later, after financial difficulties, the chain closed its last 2 branches last week in the UK. According to the British tabloid The Sun, they lost £7.9 million in 2022 and 3.2 in the 2023 fiscal year. Hamilton became vegan in 2017 and a sort of informal ambassador for the lifestyle, which includes other drivers on the grid. Fernando Alonso is one of them. And this was the most recent blow in a season that we know has been particularly difficult in his long and complex adaptation to Ferrari. Formula One, FIA, and the teams are expected to discuss new refinements to the engine regulations, debuting in 2026 in less than 10 months. The new power units will be the same as today, a 1.6-liter V6 with turbo and energy recovery. Fuel will be 100% synthetic, and 50% of the power delivered will be electric. What does this mean? It means that the combustion engine plus the MGU-K, which recovers energy from braking, will charge batteries. And 50% of the total power will come from the electric motor that consumes energy from these batteries. However, as I mentioned in the video about V10 engines, there is a well-founded concern that without the MGU-H, which recovers energy from the turbo, these electric motors might run out of energy before the end of long straights, such as in Monza or Baku. So the FIA, along with the teams, is discussing rule changes, not to reduce the 50%, but to reduce the delivery. And the drivers would not have 100% of the electric motor's power available right away or all the time. All of this is to avoid this sudden drop in power delivery. One of the proposals is to change from 50-50 to 60-40 for the total power. 60 for the internal combustion engine, the engine we know, and 40 for the electric one, rebalancing this distribution and avoiding the embarrassment of the driver losing power in the middle of the straight and seeing the speed drop or having to downshift from 7th to 6th, from 6th to 5th to maintain power. A meeting was also held in Bahrain to discuss the V10, which will not come, at least not until 2030, and the FIA said, in principle, refinements to the energy management strategy for 2026 are being considered, as well as measures to address financial issues that may be faced by power unit manufacturers that show poor performance or significant reliability problems. This is a valid concern because someone will do very well, and some may do very poorly, as happened back in 2014 when Renault and Ferrari were outpaced by Mercedes and took several years to catch up, using those tokens to close the gap with Mercedes. And speaking of Mercedes, Toto Wolff, the team boss, commented that some of the statements made on Twitter remind him of things done in American politics. I think he's talking about Donald Trump, but he said he wouldn't comment. I think he's comparing Trump with Mohammed bin Sulayem. In addition to this package, discussions also include the topic of the sporting regulations, proposing 2 mandatory pit stops in Monaco to try to make the race more dynamic, and revisions to the financial rules due to Cadillac's entry, which is trying to inject a lot of money but faces resistance from others who say, but why them and not us? Anyway, it's never simple. McLaren confirmed today what we had already reported yesterday. They are leaving. They will be leaving Formula E. It's not happening right now, but they will not enter the next season when the 4th generation of electric category cars comes. According to an article by The Race and also a statement from McLaren itself, the decision is to focus resources on their participation in the WEC, which is coming in 2027 with the hypercar program. The hypercar, that elite prototype, the main category of the World Endurance Championship. The decision marks the end of their partnership with NEOM and will obviously require a restructuring. It is not known whether the operation will be transferred to someone else, along with the staff and equipment, or if everything will be repurposed, everything in the sense of people, expertise, etc., and sent to the WEC, obviously to the extent that it is possible to repurpose. This week on Tuesday, a video of those fun listicles that you like. 10 abrupt dismissals in the history of Formula One. Drivers who raced 1, 2, sometimes 3, sometimes half a dozen races and were axed without mercy. There are well-known names like Ivan Capelli, Luca Badoe, but others you don't remember, and there's even a certain reason not to remember them because they are quite forgettable guys. On Wednesday, the little big story about the driver who paid for his spot at Minardi in 2005 with a bad check and the money was of dubious origin, to say the least. You can watch all of this weekend when there's no Formula One, plenty of time for you to catch up on our programming. So I ask you to leave a like. It's free, it costs nothing, and it helps the channel a lot. Do me this favor, do us this favor. This relationship only works with both ends. I'm here, straining my voice to talk about races, and you're there, watching until the end, leaving a like. Also, leave a comment about where you're watching us from. If you've already mentioned it in another video, leave the famous emoji so the algorithm interprets it as engagement and distributes the video across the internet. This is how we keep growing towards 300,000 subscribers. I always mention here, you are the largest and best Formula One audience in Brazil, because when I ask you to leave a like, a comment, and hype it up, you do it. The connection is complete. To not miss out on everything we do here, we have notification channels that help you receive our content. Instagram, Telegram, and WhatsApp. Links down below. You join and start receiving an automatic notification. There are already more than 2,000 in each of them. Finally, but not least, our social media where there is content all the time. Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok. We're showing the handles here. The links are also down below in the description. All right then, it's Friday. Our checklist in hand. Thanks, a big hug. It's Friday. Take care.